Guys, deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for you guys' kind messages in regards to my latest video about Arsene Wenger. Personally, I don't think I did him enough justice, and this is why I'm here again to spare some more 2 cents or whatever the saying is on my opinion on what's going on at the moment, or the man in general. But it was nice to see it was well received, because I like to think I spoke from the heart. I like to think I know myself. I don't tell no lies. I stay consistent. I stay true to my principles. And those of you who watch me from day dot know I love Arsene Wenger. I love my club more, but I'm fond of Arsene Wenger in the same way I am with Sir Alex Ferguson and Jose Mourinho. I know an Arsenal fan that does this. I'm very much unique and no one can tell me a damn thing. But back to Arsene Wenger, man. Whether it was 98, 04, or whenever the other year he won his 3 titles was, whether it's being an invincible again in 04, whether it's the numerous FA Cups, he's been a pioneer, an innovator, not just for Arsenal, but in football. A lot of things he typically says, even down to refereeing, you've now seen it come out. Man said no English refs are going to the World Cup, and he is the real Teflon Don for sure. But like I said, he's been all these things. He's been an economist, he's been a financial planner, he's been a football manager, he's been a coach, he's been a therapist, he's been a nutritionist, he's been so much stuff. A teacher, teaching and coaching and teaching are very much the same thing. I know the salaries in life are different and they look down on coaches, but to coaches to teach, to teachers to coach, essentially. He's been a mathematician, he's done everything. He's been a youth coach, he's been a manager. More often, the thing I rate him about the most, he's been a friend. He's been an ear for someone. I class him as a friend. I've never met him because he says a lot of stuff. But all you've got to do is speak to people who haven't had good careers, how he's treated them, people that have had good careers, people that just the whole footballing world, many footballers of different generations, how they receive him. And personally, that's what I would like to go down as, because away from the league titles and if he should have won this and if he should have won that, when it's all said and done and a man dies, you want to know what you remembered for. The last thing, man, I'm going to mention for Sir Alex Ferguson as well is them league titles. You're going to mention what he stood for as a man. Obviously going to mention his achievements, but you get what I mean. His perseverance is something I admire. Don't get me wrong, it was to the point where he needed to step down, clearly, but the perseverance, if we all had that in life with all of our goals, we'd get somewhere, for sure. What else have I said? He's an admirable guy. To call the man a legend or say he has a legacy is simply an understatement. For me, I believe he was born to be great. From humble beginnings in Strasbourg, he grew up in the church and he grew up, I think his family owned a pub or a bar. It's easy to see how, because of his growing up, how sympathetic he is to people, especially those that had vices, whether it's merced or people that are going through tragedy. He's able to listen. That's what makes it. If you can't be a leader unless you listen. He's able to listen. He's able to have a fine eye. It might not be there now, but he's able to have that. The 22 years to only have 3 league titles will look bad, but at the end of the day, 3 league titles, all this innovative stuff, all the players he's developed, he's won numerous FA Cups. For me, 06 to 012 is his greatest achievement, because 13-14 season, the money was there, he started messing around. Don't get me wrong, between that period that I said in 06 to 012, there was a couple of times we should have won the league title. 08 for sure. What was the year we bottled and we got savaged? Well, we've been savaged at Anfield bare times, but when we got savaged at Anfield, when they had Sterling and that, and we must have conceded like 3-4 goals in 10 minutes. Mertesacker and them man were there. I honestly believe Wenger was born to be great. He's a hallmark of English football. He's a pillar. How has the man not been knighted? What he does post Arsenal, I don't know. He hasn't ruled out a director of football role. He's obviously going to be a commentator at the World Cup, and you're going to see him there. So he'll have time to reflect, and he might get some jobs. He's been linked with Monaco. That's his previous club. They got a great youth project. They got a great little thing doing. The expectation's not as high as other clubs, so he might go there. PSG, they've spoken of wanting to give him a director of football role. They've wanted him for time. He's got a good relationship with the owners, so maybe he could go and do that. He actually hasn't ruled it out at Arsenal, but he actually hasn't ruled out a clean break from Arsenal too, so it's very much coy. Wenger being true to Wenger, he plays very coy, and allegedly he's just focused on his last remaining games. Apparently the players were shocked at 9:45 to hear this, and I would be as well, because it was actually a recovery day on Friday, allegedly, so they must have knew something was up. But the guy's amazing, man. The guy's amazing. There's several new roles. Like I said, PSG, Monaco, somehow staying at Arsenal in another capacity. Depending on France's performance between 2020 2022, you'd like to think there's an excellent chance of him managing his homeland. Even in England, there's been talk of giving him the job, and there's some great young players and them things there. If Southgate messes up, maybe Wenger does that. Or a new role, because he says the things like the refereeing and the financial fair play, and even it's bants, but even down to the top 4 race, he's been right about a lot of things. He's been wrong about stuff, but he's been right about a lot of things. should he then, I don't know the exact position I'm calling for, people, but should he devote his time to some sort of executive thing where he's just challenging the injustice and inconsistencies in football, because he's able to turn the spotlight on a lot of things. So yeah, man, there's not much more to be said. All I can do is say thank you, man. I haven't always agreed with you. I believed you needed to step down, but honestly, Wenger, thank you for all the things you've done as a manager. And I might as well just roll up some of my favourite quotes of this guy, man, just to, like, I screenshotted some. Just go on. I think someone's got a great account of it. Someone's actually got a great account. I don't know the app, but the quotes of Wenger. Go and look at it. Some of my favourite quotes. The first one: when you give success to stupid people, it makes them more stupid sometimes and not more intelligent. Of course. When you're obliged to do something, you do it badly. But when you enjoy something, you do it with more conviction, with more creativity. Those of you who hate your 9-to-5s can understand that. I hope Arsenal are even bigger in the future. That's what I would like to see. Hopefully from paradise. Madness. Looking backwards is scary because wait. Let me do that again. Looking backwards is scary because there's not as much to come as to what has already been lived. Another quote that's not here, but it's always I've loved from Wenger, is that he said, the past brings regret, the future brings uncertainty. There's no time like the present. So if we put that in football terms, it brings regret the many times we've bottled. It's uncertain that we don't know who the manager is or if we're going to get success. But the present, what we can do is try and improve tactically, defensively, and all of these things. You can see how, like, for me, like, I've told you guys, he's essentially my third granddad. Like, he's white, but he's my granddad. Like, it's simple as, man. The most inspirational thing someone has ever said to me is, I trust you. This guy is amazing, man. I understand that people are scared to lose their culture, but the world will only work if it will only survive if we work together. See what I'm saying, man? The most underrated quality is the stamina and your motivation, what we call perseverance. I believe that when one day I look back, certainly I'll be very proud of what I've done. See, I'm only a guide. I enable others to express what they have within them. I'm a facilitator of what is beautiful in men. This guy is amazing, man. I would like to be remembered as someone who tried to give joy to people through the game that they love. If I have one merit, I've been loyal to this club and committed. I know it's a privilege to be at this club. Tell me you're not fighting back tears. Football is there to provoke moments of happiness, excitement, and positive experience in people, no matter where they come from. No matter what colour skin they have, what religion they are, or their preferred sexuality. I'm not going to list anymore, but you can see how much of a great man he is, man. Him and Ferguson, I hope you two enjoy some great scotch or some whiskey, or I know French got some nice wine and them things there. You lot link up and these things. It's great, man. It's an end of an era, man. I mean, in the last 18 months or so, I've finally seen Spurs finish ahead of us in our lifetime, and I'm about to see a manager that's not Arsene Wenger manage the club. A lot of older heads have seen that. So it's exciting times, and it proves nothing lasts forever. And essentially, you could say, I know I'm in my 20s now, but my childhood is gone. Who knows, man? Yeah, there's nothing more to be said, man. I'm just keeping you guys here for no reason at this point. Guys, deluded, thank you very much for watching. It means the world. I'm out. Last one.